How much time do I have?
14 hours, maybe 15.
I'm Kate. From me after today. Somebody knows.
Hey, let go of
Isn't me.
I only followed us.
Who?
Everyone.
I can help you get them. Just a total killer, babe.
Thanks.
Great shot. Great shot.
What happens when a deadly assassin gets only 24 hours to finish her mission? Kate, 2021, delivers non-stop action, brutal fights, and a revenge story that keeps you hooked. Welcome to SONU HUB. Let's break down the movie, its shocking facts, and whether it's worth watching. Kate is a 2021 American action thriller movie directed by Cedric Nicholas Troyan and written by Umer Alim. The movie stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Miku Martineau, Woody Harrelson, Tadanobu Asano, Michelle Huisman, Miyavi, and Jun Kunimura. The story follows Kate, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, a highly skilled assassin who has spent years learning how to kill and survive. Her mentor and handler, played by Woody Harrelson, gives her a dangerous final assignment: take out a powerful and high-ranking Yakuza boss. At first, Kate thinks this is just another job. She knows the risks and is ready to get it done. But during what should be her final mission, everything goes completely sideways. Kate discovers that someone has poisoned her, and the doctors tell her that she has less than a day to live. With only a few hours left, Kate realizes she has nothing left to lose. Instead of sitting around and waiting for death, and she decides to go all in. She starts hunting down the people responsible for poisoning her and sets out to find the person who betrayed and set her up. As Kate tears through Tokyo looking for answers, she gets caught in a dangerous world filled with gangsters, assassins, Yakuza members, and powerful criminals. Along the way, she becomes connected to a young teenage girl named Ani, who has her own connection to the criminal world. Their unexpected partnership becomes an important part of Kate's final mission. Kate knows that time is running out fast, so she has to move quickly. Every fight, every clue, and every enemy brings her closer to the truth. With her life literally ticking away, Kate pushes herself to the limit, determined to settle the score before her time runs out. The movie was released on September 10, 2021 by Netflix. Critics gave the film mixed reviews. Many praised Mary Elizabeth Winstead for her intense performance and action scenes, while others felt that the movie was too similar to several other female assassin movies and didn't bring enough new ideas to the genre. Kate, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, is a highly trained assassin and expert sniper. She takes out targets chosen by her trusted mentor and handler Varric, played by Woody Harrelson. Kate was left orphaned when she was a child, and Varric stepped in and raised her almost like his own daughter. He trained her in guns, weapons, hand to hand combat, and other deadly skills. Eventually, he brought her into his private team of professional killers. For the past 12 years, Kate has never failed to eliminate a target for Varric. Kate travels to Osaka for a mission to kill an important officer working for a powerful Yakuza syndicate. But when she gets ready to take the shot, she notices that a young girl is with the target. Kate doesn't want to pull the trigger because she has a personal rule against killing when children are nearby. Varric insists that she take the shot, reminding her that letting the target escape would throw away 7 years of work spent tracking him down. Kaut finally takes the shot and kills the target. As soon as he goes down, everyone around him runs away, leaving the little girl completely alone, scared and defenseless. Kate's mission is technically a success, but she feels deeply disturbed because she had broken one of her most important rules. Killing the man while a child was right there leaves Kate struggling with guilt and regret. 10 months later, Kate tells Varric that she wants to take one final job and then retire. She wants to leave the killing business behind and finally start a normal life for herself. Before carrying out her final mission, Kate meets a charming stranger named Steven, played by Michelle Huisman, at the bar inside her hotel. The two spend some time together, share a bottle of wine, and later sleep together in Kate's hotel room. When Kate has to leave to complete her assignment, she leaves some money on the dresser for Steven before heading out. Kate later gets into position and prepares her sniper's nest so she can take out her target from a distance, but just before she can make the shot, she suddenly starts feeling dizzy and sick. Her vision and balance become so bad that she misses the target. Kate realizes something is seriously wrong, but she has no idea what is happening to her. Her condition gets even worse while she tries to steal a car and escape from the area. She becomes so sick that she throws up on the way. Meanwhile, the target's bodyguards are searching the streets for the sniper who tried to kill their boss. When they see a Western woman desperately trying to get away in a car, they immediately become suspicious and start chasing her. Kate eventually realizes that Steven must have poisoned her while trying to escape from the target's bodyguards. She loses control of the car and crashes. Kate wakes up in a hospital the next day and gets shocking news. She has acute radiation poisoning caused by polonium 204, and the doctors tell her that she has only about 24 hours left to live. Katie starts thinking back to her night with Steven and remembers something strange. Steven never actually drank his wine. That makes her realize that he was probably involved in poisoning her. Kate steals a gun from the police officer guarding her hospital room. She then forces a doctor at gunpoint to prepare 5 stimulant injections for her. These injections can temporarily give her enough strength and energy to keep going. With only 1 day left to live, Kate decides she isn't going to spend her final hours sitting around. She wants revenge and plans to find everyone responsible for poisoning her. Kate tracks down Steven because she had looked at his ID card after they spent the night together and memorized his address. When she finds him, Steven is with his girlfriend. Kate discovers that Steven and his girlfriend were forced into poisoning her by a Yakuza criminal named Sato, who is connected to the Kijima crime family. Steven explains that Sato promised to clear his debt if he helped poison Kate. His girlfriend begs Kate not to kill him, explaining that Stephen only did it because he was trapped and wanted a chance to finally escape his debt and start a new life with her. Kate decides to spare Stephen. She leaves him and his girlfriend together, allowing them the chance to move forward with their lives. Kate then meets Varric, who acts sympathetic about what happened to her. Varric tells Kate that her final target is Kijima, played by John Kunimura. Kate also learns that the man she killed during her previous mission in Osaka was Kijima's younger brother, Kentaro. Kate tracks down Sato at a fancy luxury restaurant. She storms inside and takes him out along with dozens of armed Yakuza members. After the brutal attack, Kate needs information about Kijima. Kijima is extremely powerful, secretive, and heavily protected, making him very difficult to find. Kate questions the last surviving bodyguard working for Sato. The man tells her that a girl named Ani might know where Kijima is hiding. Kate then kidnaps Ani, played by Miku Martineau, who is Kijima's niece. Kate soon realizes that Ani is the same little girl who witnessed her father's death during the Osaka mission 10 months earlier. At first, Kate only plans to use Ani as bait. She wants to force Kijima to come out of hiding. Kate makes Ani call Kijima's top advisor, Renji, played by Tadanobu Asano. She tells Renji to arrange a meeting with Kijima at a public location within an hour, but Renji has no intention of helping Kate. Instead, he sends his entire army after Kate and Ani. Kate takes on Renji's men in a brutal fight and manages to wipe out a large number of them. Kate had tied Ani up inside a public restroom to keep her safe, but Ani manages to escape. While running through the area, Ani comes across Shinzo, one of Renji's top men. Shinzo has been ordered to kill Ani, and she quickly realizes that he is there to take her out. Kate decides that she can't leave Ani on her own. She learns that Ani's own family wants her dead because of a dangerous internal power struggle inside the Yakuza. Renji is using the situation to gain more control over the organization. Kate chooses to protect Ani and kills Shinzo along with the remaining Yakuza members loyal to Renji. Ani then helps Kate by telling her that Renji is probably staying with his boyfriend, Jojima, played by Miyavi, inside an expensive penthouse apartment. Using Ani's information, Kate manages to get inside the penthouse. Kate gets into a brutal hand-to-hand fight with Jojima. The fight becomes intense, but Ani eventually manages to load a gun and shoots Jojima, killing him. Afterward, Ani finds Jojima's phone and discovers that it contains a tracker connected to Renji Kote, and Ani used the information from the phone to track Renji's car. They attack him while he is driving along a deserted road. Kate takes out his guards and manages to isolate Renji. With nowhere to run, Renji gives Kate clues about where Kijima is hiding. Ani puts the clues together and figures out Kijima's location. Kate decides not to kill Renji. Instead, she leaves him alive and calls Varric. She tells him that she has found Kijima and that she is going to finish the job. Kate finally meets Kijima at an old family home that he keeps hidden from everyone. He is sitting there with almost no protection around him. As Kate talks to him, she begins uncovering more information about what really happened during the Osaka mission. Kijima reveals something that completely changes the situation. He tells Kate that Renji had made a deal with Varric. Renji wanted to bring Varric's private team into the Yakuza syndicate, and in exchange Varric's team would kill Kijima and every member of his blood family. Kate starts realizing that the man she trusted like a father may have betrayed her. Her entire life and everything she believed about Varric suddenly comes into question. When Kate leaves the meeting, she finds Varric standing next to Ani. Varric has already manipulated Annie and told her that Kate was responsible for killing her family. Annie is heartbroken and furious. She picks up a gun and shoots Kate in the face before leaving with Varric, but Kate somehow survives the gunshot. Kijima knows that Kate is almost out of time because of the poison inside her body. Wanting to help her finish what she started, he gives Kate a small army of his own men to attack Ranji's headquarters. Kijima also gives Kate another stimulant injection, which will keep her going for about 1 more hour. Kate and Kijima's men launch a massive assault on Ranji's headquarters. A fierce gunfight breaks out, and most of Ranji's men and Varric's soldiers are killed. In the middle of the chaos, Kijima personally confronts Renji. Because of Renji's betrayal, Kijima beheads him and ends his attempt to take control of the syndicate. Kate continues searching through the building until she finally finds Varric. He is holding Annie at gunpoint. Kate and Varric face each other one last time. Both of them are ready to shoot and they have a quick draw. Kate is faster. She shoots Varric in the stomach, leaving him fatally wounded. After everything is finally over, Annie helps Kate walk outside and onto the roof. Kate's body is becoming weaker as the poison continues to take its toll. With Annie beside her, Kate looks out at the city. Knowing that her time has finally run out, Kate sheds a single tear as she succumbs to the poisoning. Casting Mary Elizabeth Winstead was announced as the lead for the Netflix action thriller in April 2019, stepping into the role of Kate, a highly skilled assassin whose final mission in Tokyo goes catastrophically wrong after she is poisoned with a lethal dose of polonium. The decision to cast Winstead came after the project had already secured its director in Cedric Nicholas Troyan in December 2018 and had been developed under the production banner of 87 North Productions and Clubhouse Pictures, with producers Kelly McCormick, Brian Unkeles, and Patrick Newell. Winstead's prior work in physically demanding roles positioned her ideally for a part that demanded both intense action sequences and layered emotional vulnerability. She had recently completed heavy stunt work in Gemini Man and Birds of Prey, where she portrayed Helena Bertinelli Huntress, experiences that left her comfortable with the rigorous training regimen required for Kate. The producers, including Unkeles, who had collaborated with her on Birds of Prey, recognized that Winstead brought a rare combination of technical proficiency in fight choreography and the capacity to convey quiet internal conflict. Director Nicholas Troyan later noted that upon meeting her, he immediately knew she was the right choice, citing her physicality as a dancer, her dedication, and her grounded personality that would later prove valuable in mentoring a younger co-star. Winstead prepared extensively for the role. She trained at Tarrant Tactical in Los Angeles and worked with a team of former military snipers in Thailand who insisted on absolute precision in every detail of weapon handling, including breathing techniques while pulling a trigger. The character of Kate is a product of long-term conditioning under her mentor, and Winstead's preparation mirrored that intensity. She had roughly a year to ready herself, a timeline made possible by the overlapping physical demands of her previous projects. This preparation allowed her to perform a significant portion of her own stunts, contributing to the film's visceral quality. The casting of Winstead also aligned with Netflix's interest in elevating established actors into leading action roles that emphasize both capability and emotional complexity rather than purely stylized invincibility. Woody Harrelson joined the cast in July 2019 as Varric, Kate's mentor, handler, and surrogate father figure. Harrelson's casting brought an established dramatic weight and a distinctive swagger that the director described as an adventure in itself. Although Harrelson's screen time was limited relative to the central plot, his presence was essential in establishing the psychological foundation of Kate's world. Varick raised the orphaned Kate and shaped her into a professional killer, creating a relationship that mixes genuine care with cold professional utility. Harrelson's ability to convey charm, menace, and paternal complexity in equal measure made him a natural fit. The announcement of his involvement generated additional industry attention, reinforcing the project's credibility as a mid-budget action film with recognizable talent. Nicola Troyan observed that Harrelson was highly committed during his relatively short time on set and delivered the necessary intensity and ease that the character required. In September 2019, the supporting cast expanded significantly with the additions of Michelle Huisman, Tadanobu Asano, and Jun Kunimura. Huisman was cast as Steven, the charismatic stranger Kate meets at a hotel bar who becomes the instrument of her poisoning. Huisman's previous work in roles that balanced charm and underlying threat suited the character's function as both a romantic interlude and a catastrophic betrayal. Tadanobu Asano took on the role of Renji, a high-ranking Yakuza figure whose personal and professional ambitions drive much of the internal conflict within the criminal organization. Asano's extensive experience in Japanese and international cinema, including intense, dramatic, and action-oriented performances, brought authenticity and gravity to the Tokyo underworld elements of the story. Jun Kunimura was cast as Kichima, the aging Yakuza boss and uncle to the young Ani. Kunimura's long career in Japanese film, marked by authoritative and often understated performances, provided the necessary presence for a character who operates largely from the shadows, yet remained central to the power dynamics. Miku Martineau was cast as Annie, the teenage niece of Kijima and the daughter of one of Kate's earlier targets. This role represented Martineau's first major live-action performance after prior voice work. The chemistry between Martineau and Winstead proved decisive. Director Nicola Troyan prioritized the relationship between Kate and Annie above pure action spectacle, viewing their evolving bond as the emotional core of the film. When the two actresses read together, they connected immediately, confirming the casting. Winstead later described how naturally they got along, to the point that she initially wondered whether they could convincingly portray the early antagonistic phase of the characters' relationship. Martineau's ability to deliver a brash, tough, and confrontational performance while maintaining underlying vulnerability allowed the mentor-protege dynamic to develop organically on screen. Winstead took on an informal mentoring role off camera as well, which further strengthened their working relationship. Martineau's Japanese heritage also contributed to the authenticity of the character and the production's engagement with Japanese locations and culture. Miyavi was cast as Jojima, Renji's partner and a skilled hand-to-hand combatant. The Japanese musician and actor brought both physical presence and a distinctive screen energy to the role. His fight sequence with Winstead was among the more challenging set pieces to film, requiring precise choreography and commitment from both performers. Miyavi had limited rehearsal time due to touring commitments, yet adapted quickly, demonstrating the dedication that made the confrontation effective. Mari Yamamoto appeared as Kanako, Steven's girlfriend, adding another layer to the early sequence involving the poisoning. Supporting roles filled out the world of the film with actors including Hirotaka Range as a specialist, Kazuya Tanabe as Shinzo, Cindy Serena Bishop as Kate's mother in flashbacks, and younger performers Amelia Crouch, Eva Cario-Phillips, and Gemma Brooke Allen portraying Kate at different stages of her youth. These casting choices established continuity in the character's visual and emotional history. The Japanese rock band Bandmaid appeared as themselves, performing in a club sequence and contributing music to the soundtrack. Their inclusion added contemporary cultural texture and connected the film's Tokyo setting to real-world Japanese music scenes. Additional supporting players populated the Yakuza ranks, hospital staff, security personnel, and various incidental roles, many of them Japanese actors who grounded the production in its primary location. Casting director Jenny Ju oversaw the process. Ju's previous credits include work on projects such as Okja, Snowpiercer, and contributions to Inglourious Basterds, demonstrating experience with both large-scale international productions and distinctive ensemble casts. Her involvement ensured a balance between recognizable Western talent and authentic Japanese performers necessary for the Yakuza elements and Tokyo-based sequences. The production filmed primarily between September and November 2019 across Thailand, Tokyo, and Los Angeles. Thailand stood in for certain Osaka and Tokyo sequences while also providing controlled environments for complex action. The decision to shoot in actual Japanese locations for key scenes required careful coordination of cast and local crews. Winstead's willingness to endure extreme conditions, monsoon season humidity in Thailand, and cold winter weather in Japan, while performing demanding physical work, reinforced the casting decision. The 87 North connection brought experienced stunt coordinators, including personnel who had worked with Winstead previously, which streamlined the integration of action into character-driven moments. Casting announcements followed a deliberate sequence. Winstead's attachment in April 2019 established the film as a star vehicle centered on a female assassin with both lethal competence and personal stakes. Harrelson's addition in July elevated the mentor dynamic. The September wave of announcements filled out the antagonistic and supporting structure, signaling that the production was assembling a multinational ensemble capable of sustaining the dual demands of action spectacle and interpersonal drama. The script by Umair Aleem, which had appeared on the blacklist, provided a framework that attracted talent interested in roles with both physical and emotional range. Netflix's acquisition of the project in 2017, with a reported $25 million budget, positioned it as a mid-tier action offering that could afford recognizable names without requiring the scale of a major theatrical franchise. Winstead has spoken about the appeal of the role lying in the juxtaposition of brutal action and unexpected softness at the story's core. The character of Kate is not presented as an invulnerable killing machine. The poisoning imposes a hard time limit and progressive physical deterioration that forces vulnerability into every subsequent decision. This narrative structure required an actress capable of conveying exhaustion, determination, regret, and emerging protectiveness toward Annie within the same performance. Winstead's background in both genre films and more intimate dramatic work allowed her to navigate these shifts. Her ballet training from childhood informed her movement quality, contributing to the precision and fluidity of the fight sequences even as the character's body fails. Harrelson's Varric functions as both origin and antagonist. The casting leveraged Harrelson's capacity to make moral ambiguity compelling. Audiences familiar with his range in films such as Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, or True Detective could anticipate a performance that would not settle into simple paternal warmth or straightforward villainy. The limited screen time made efficient casting essential. Harrelson delivered the necessary history and present day conflict without requiring extensive exposition. Martineau's selection as Annie was critical because the character must hold the screen opposite an established star while undergoing her own arc from hostage and potential target to reluctant ally and emotional catalyst. The age difference and cultural background between Kate and Annie create natural friction that the casting needed to make believable. Martineau's relative inexperience in live action features was offset by her natural presence and the supportive environment created by Winstead and the director. Interviews conducted around the film's release highlighted how the two performers bonded offset, including shared musical interests, which translated into on-screen rapport that felt lived in rather than manufactured. The Japanese cast members, Asano, Kunimura, Miyavi, and others were essential for the film's claim to a Tokyo setting and Yakuza milieu. Casting established Japanese actors rather than relying solely on Western performers in those roles avoided the pitfalls of cultural inauthenticity that sometimes affect international productions. Asano's Renji and Kunimura's Kijima represent different facets of organized crime leadership, calculated ambition versus traditional authority. Their performances provide counterweight to the Western protagonists and expand the moral landscape beyond a simple revenge narrative. Miyavi's dual identity as musician and actor added another dimension. His physical fight with Winstead stands as one of the film's more memorable action beats, and the casting of a performer with real martial arts credibility and stage presence elevated the sequence beyond standard choreography. The inclusion of bandmates as themselves further blurred the line between the film's fictional world and contemporary Japanese popular culture, giving the club sequence a documentary-like texture. Younger actresses portraying Kate at various ages, Amelia Crouch as teen Kate, Ava Caryophilis as child Kate, and Gemma Brooke Allen as young Kate, were cast to establish visual and emotional continuity. These choices support the flashbacks that reveal how Varric shaped Kate from childhood, reinforcing the themes of conditioning and the long-term consequences of that upbringing. Cindy Serena Bishop's appearance as Kate's mother in early sequences provides additional context for the character's origin story. The overall casting strategy reflected the dual nature of the project, an action film built around set-piece violence and a character study of isolation, loyalty, and the possibility of connection under extreme circumstances. By centering Winstead, the production committed to a lead performance that could carry both the kinetic and the intimate elements. Surrounding her with Harrelson for emotional history, Martineau for evolving relationship dynamics, and a strong Japanese ensemble for cultural and antagonistic texture created a balanced ensemble. Casting director Jenny Ju's experience with projects that mix international talent and distinctive visual styles helped assemble a group capable of delivering under the logistical pressures of multi-country filming and the physical demands of the action design. Production realities influenced casting considerations as well. The compressed shooting schedule from mid-September to late November 2019 required performers who could adapt quickly to changing locations, weather, and the evolving physical state of the central character. Winstead's preparation and prior collaboration with members of the stunt team minimized the learning curve. Harrelson's efficiency on set maximized the impact of his limited days. Martineau's ability to match Winstead's intensity while remaining open to direction allowed the central relationship to develop in real time during principal photography. The film's release on Netflix in September 2021 brought the completed ensemble to a global audience. Critical response frequently singled out Winstead's performance as a highlight, even when overall opinions on the film's originality varied. The casting of a recognizable yet not overexposed lead, paired with a mix of veteran character actors and emerging talent, supported the project's goal of delivering a self-contained action thriller with emotional stakes. The multinational composition of the cast mirrored the story's movement between Western professional killers and Japanese organized crime, creating a coherent world on screen. Supporting players such as Alicia Rotaru in voice and operative roles, Patrick Newell in a cameo capacity consistent with his producing involvement, and numerous Japanese actors in background and speaking parts completed the texture of the film's environments, from high-end restaurants and nightclubs to hospitals, streets, and criminal strongholds. Each casting decision from the lead downward contributed to the cumulative effect of a story that prioritizes both the spectacle of violence and the quieter moments of recognition between characters who have every reason to remain adversaries. The process of assembling this cast unfolded over roughly a year of announcements, beginning with the director's attachment, followed by the lead, the key mentor figure, and then the broader ensemble. This measured approach allowed each addition to build upon the previous ones, ensuring that the central performance had the necessary counterparts for conflict, alliance, and revelation. Winstead's commitment to the physical and emotional demands set a tone that subsequent cast members matched in their respective roles. The result was an ensemble calibrated to the specific requirements of a story about a professional killer confronting the consequences of her life's work in the final hours available to her. Production development and pre-production the story that would eventually become Kate began its journey to the screen in October 2017. When Netflix moved to acquire a spec script written by Umair Alim, the streaming service's acquisition of the screenplay came with an unusually specific budgetary commitment attached to it from the outset. The project was greenlit with a production budget in the neighborhood of $25 million, a figure that signaled Netflix's growing appetite for mid-budget, star-driven genre films that could be produced relatively quickly and released directly to subscribers without the overhead of a traditional theatrical rollout. The producing team assembled around the project reflected a lineage in modern American action filmmaking. David Leitch, a former stuntman turned director and producer who had by that point built a reputation through his work on films associated with kinetic, meticulously choreographed combat, joined as a producer alongside Kelly McCormick, Brian Unkeles, and Scott Morgan. Leitch and McCormick's involvement placed the project within the orbit of 87 North Productions, the action-focused production company the two had built specifically to develop projects that treated stunt work and fight choreography as central creative pillars rather than as an afterthought bolted onto a finished script. This lineage would prove important to how the finished film was eventually received, since the action pedigree associated with the producers set expectations among critics and audiences for a certain caliber of physical performance and fight design. Alim's screenplay did not go unnoticed within the industry even before a director or cast had been formally attached. That December, just 2 months after Netflix's acquisition, The script was voted onto the blacklist, the closely watched annual survey that catalogs some of the most well-regarded unproduced screenplays circulating in Hollywood. Placement on the blacklist is often treated as an informal seal of quality within the industry, and for Kate, it served as an early signal that the project had genuine creative momentum behind it, distinct from the commercial calculation of the budget commitment alone. More than a year passed between the script's acquisition and the moment a director was formally attached. In December 2018, Cedric Nicolas Troyan signed on to direct. Nicolas Troyan came to the project having previously helmed a large-scale studio fantasy action picture, and his background gave Netflix a filmmaker experienced in staging effects, heavy physically demanding sequences at a studio level. Even if Kate would ultimately operate on a considerably tighter budget and a more grounded contemporary register than his prior feature work. Casting decisions followed through the first half of 2019 and continued into the fall, gradually assembling an ensemble that blended Hollywood and Japanese screen talent. In April 2019, Mary Elizabeth Winstead was cast in the title role. Winstead was already a recognizable presence in genre and action adjacent cinema by this point, and her casting as Kate anchored the film around a performer capable of carrying both the emotional interiority the script called for and the physically demanding stunt work the role would require. 3 months later, in July 2019, Woody Harrelson joined the cast in the role of Varric, Kate's mentor, father figure, and handler, a character whose complicated loyalty to Kate forms much of the film's emotional and narrative backbone. September 2019 brought a wave of further casting announcements that rounded out the film's central roles. Michiel Huisman, Tadanobu Asano, and Jung Kunimura were all confirmed as new additions to the cast around this time. Huisman was set to play Steven, the charming stranger Kate meets at a hotel bar, who ultimately turns out to be the man responsible for poisoning her. Asano was cast as Renji, a duplicitous Yakuza lieutenant scheming against his own crime family, and Kunimura took on the role of Kijima, the aging Yakuza boss whose niece becomes entangled in Kate's quest for vengeance. Rounding out the ensemble were Miku Martineau as Ani, Kijima's niece, and the emotional counterweight to Winstead's Kate, Mari Yamamoto as Kanako, and the Japanese musician Miyavi as Jojima. A formidable hand-to-hand combatant aligned with Renji. The film's soundtrack and its cast overlapped in an unusual way that was set up during pre-production. In November 2019, it was announced that the Japanese rock band Bandmaid would appear in the film. Their involvement went beyond a simple licensing arrangement for the soundtrack. Band members appear on screen as themselves, performing inside a nightclub set at a pivotal moment in the story when Kate tracks down Annie. This decision to fold a real, actively touring band into the diegetic world of the film gave the production an additional layer of texture and specificity, reinforcing the Japanese urban nightlife setting the filmmakers were building around Kate's odyssey through Tokyo's criminal underworld. Filming principal photography on Kate began on September 16, 2019 and continued for a little over 2 months, wrapping on November 29, 2019. The shoot took the production across 3 very different environments: Thailand, Tokyo, Japan, and Los Angeles, California. Splitting the shoot across these locations allowed the filmmakers to combine authentic Japanese urban backdrops with the production infrastructure and controlled shooting environments available in Thailand and Los Angeles. a fairly common strategy for productions that want the visual specificity of a particular country without shooting the entirety of a demanding action shoot on location there. Because Kate is fundamentally a physical performance piece as much as it is a scripted drama, the preparation Mary Elizabeth Winstead underwent before filming began was a significant part of the production's pre-shoot process. Winstead had previously worked with stunt performer Haley Wright on the earlier film Gemini Man, and the two built on that prior collaboration by training together extensively in the lead up to Kate's shoot. Winstead has spoken about valuing the working relationship she had with Wright, in part because they shared a background in dance, which gave them a compatible physical vocabulary and made the choreography process more intuitive between them. That carefully built collaboration was disrupted almost immediately once cameras started rolling. Wright was injured on the very first day of filming in Thailand, an early setback that forced the production to bring in other stunt performers to fill the gap left by her absence. The loss of a stunt double who had trained specifically and extensively with the film's lead so close to the start of the shoot represented exactly the kind of unpredictable production hurdle that action filmmaking is especially vulnerable to, given how much of the work depends on the specific physical chemistry and trust built between a lead actor and their stunt team ahead of time. Despite this early disruption, the production continued through its Thailand leg and on to its subsequent Tokyo and Los Angeles shooting blocks, ultimately wrapping principal photography on schedule at the end of November. The three-location structure of the shoot also shaped the practical choreography and geography of the film's story, which follows Kate across a single compressed time frame as she races against her own body's rapidly advancing radiation poisoning. The production's ability to draw on Tokyo's real streets, interiors, and nightlife districts gave the film a grounded sense of place for its Japan-set underworld plot, while the Los Angeles and Thailand shooting blocks allowed the production to construct and control more elaborate action sequences, stunt work, and specific set pieces without the logistical constraints of shooting extensively on Tokyo streets. Post-production on Kate proceeded over the roughly year and a half gap between the November 2019 wrap of principal photography and the film's eventual September 2021 release date. As with many contemporary action films built around extensive practical stunt work, the post-production phase would have involved editing together footage from three distinct shooting locations into a coherent, propulsive narrative, alongside the visual effects work needed to enhance and integrate the film's action sequences, gunfights, car chases, and hand-to-hand combat choreography. The extended gap between wrap and release also coincided with the global disruption to film and television production and distribution schedules that began in early 2020. While the publicly available production history of Kate does not detail the specific internal reasons for the film's release timeline, the roughly 22-month interval between the end of filming and the theatrical and streaming release is consistent with the kind of scheduling shifts that affected numerous films finishing post-production work during that period. Cedric Nicholas Troyan's editorial credits list Elizabeth Ronaldsdottir among those involved with shaping the finished film, alongside the producing team of Kelly McCormick, Brian Unkeles, Patrick Newell, and Sandra Montiel, reflecting the collaborative, multi-hand nature of assembling a large-scale action film's final cut, sound design, and visual polish before delivery to Netflix. Music plays a distinctive and somewhat unusual role in Kate's production compared to many contemporary action thrillers, largely because of the involvement of Bandmate, the Japanese rock band whose members appear on screen as themselves. Beyond their on-camera cameo performing in a Tokyo nightclub during one of the film's key confrontations, Bandmate contributed 2 songs to the film's soundtrack. This dual role, as both source of licensed music and as an on-screen musical act embedded directly into the plot, meant that the band's involvement was baked into the film's narrative and production design rather than functioning purely as a background licensing choice made late in post-production. The decision to feature an active, real-world Japanese rock band performing in character gave the Tokyo set nightclub sequence a specific texture that separated from a more generic, anonymously scored action set piece. It also tied the film's soundtrack choices directly to its setting, reinforcing the Japanese urban backdrop against which much of Kate's night-long mission unfolds, and giving the film's marketing and press coverage an additional talking point tied to a band with its own dedicated fan base outside of the film itself. Released theatrical Kate was distributed by Netflix, and its rollout followed the pattern the streaming service had by 2021 established for many of its higher profile original films. A limited theatrical presence intended primarily to satisfy festival, awards qualification or promotional considerations, paired with a day and date or near simultaneous release on the Netflix streaming platform itself, where the overwhelming majority of the film's actual audience would encounter it. The film's involvement in Netflix's promotional calendar was signaled well ahead of its release date. In January 2021, Netflix publicly unveiled its 2021 film slate, an announcement in which Kate was positioned among the titles meant to showcase the growing scale and star power of the company's in-house film ambitions for that year. Later, in June 2021, Netflix's social media promotional arm further teased the film's imminent arrival as part of its Geeked Week fan-facing marketing push, confirming the film's release for September of that year. The film was ultimately released on September 10, 2021. Because Kate was conceived and financed from the outset as a Netflix original rather than as a traditional studio theatrical release later licensed to a streamer, its theatrical footprint was minimal by design. The film's true release event, and the one around which press coverage, critical reviews, and audience engagement were organized, was its debut on the Netflix platform itself. This distribution model shaped the entire framework in which the film was received. Without a conventional box office run to track over subsequent weekends, critical and audience response, along with whatever viewership metrics Netflix chose to disclose, became the primary lenses through which the film's commercial performance could be assessed. Home media, because Kate was produced and distributed as a Netflix original film rather than through a traditional theatrical distributor. Its release does not follow the conventional home media pattern of films that open in cinemas and are later made available through a windowed sequence of digital rental, digital purchase, and physical disc releases. Instead, the Netflix streaming platform functioned as the film's primary and, for most viewers, only means of access from its September 10, 2021 release date onward, with the film remaining available to subscribers as part of the platform's library rather than being sold or rented as a standalone consumer product in the way a theatrically released film typically would be. This distribution approach reflects the broader strategy Netflix pursued with many of its original action and genre films during this period. Rather than chasing supplementary home media revenue streams through disc sales or transactional video on demand, the company treated films like Kate as content assets whose value was realized primarily through subscriber engagement and retention on the platform itself, with the film's ongoing availability in the Netflix catalog serving as its de facto home media life beyond the initial release window. Reception Box Office is a Netflix original film released with only a minimal theatrical presence. Kate did not have a conventional box office's run of the kind tracked and reported for wide theatrical releases. Films distributed under this model typically forego standard box office reporting altogether, since their commercial performance is measured internally by the streaming service through viewership hours, completion rates, and other proprietary engagement metrics rather than ticket sales. Consistent with this pattern, Kate's commercial reception is not defined by traditional box office figures, and its performance was instead judged by press coverage and audiences primarily through critical response and general public conversation around the film following its Netflix debut, rather than through the weekend by weekend box office narrative that accompanies traditionally distributed theatrical films. Critical reaction to Kate upon its release was mixed, with reviewers largely converging on a shared set of observations: praise for Mary Elizabeth Winstead's committed, physically demanding lead performance, paired with disappointment that the film's plot and structure covered ground that felt overly familiar within the female assassin action subgenre that had become increasingly crowded by 2021. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film held a 45% positive rating based on a sample of 95 critics at the time of recording, placing it squarely in mixed territory rather than being either broadly panned or warmly embraced. The site's consensus summary captured the dominant critical through line directly. Reviewers found index equals 1 arm, Winstead's performance in the title role reliably gripping, even as they judged the film disappointingly derivative of numerous other female assassin films. On Metacritic, which aggregates critic reviews into a single weighted score, Kate registered a 47 out of 100 based on 22 critics, a figure the site itself classifies as indicating mixed or average reviews, a designation that aligns closely with the Rotten Tomatoes consensus and underscores how consistently critics across different outlets arrived at a similar overall judgment of the film. Individual reviews fleshed out this consensus with more specific points of comparison and critique. Richard Roper, writing for the Chicago Sun-Times, situated the film squarely within a lineage of prior action classics, describing it essentially as a hybrid of several well-known predecessors in the assassin and hitman genre. Despite noting the film's lack of narrative originality, Roper still found value in its execution, characterizing the viewing experience as an entertaining, pulpy ride bolstered by index equal 1 dark comic touches, striking visuals, and strong fight choreography. His review reflects a strand of criticism that, while acknowledging the film's derivative bones, was nonetheless willing to credit its craft and entertainment value on its own terms. CNN's Brian Lowry took a more skeptical line, drawing an explicit comparison between Kate and the 1950 film noir DOA, a much older film built around a strikingly similar core premise of a poisoned protagonist racing against time. Lowry's review acknowledged that the action on screen was abundant and violent, but argued the story itself offered little in the way of genuine mystery, describing its plot developments as thoroughly foreseeable well before they occurred. This comparison to a decades-old noir touchstone became something of a recurring reference point in the film's critical reception more broadly, with multiple critics independently drawing attention to how closely Kate's central conceit echoed that much older film. The Hollywood Reporter's review pushed the derivative critique further still, characterizing the film as a patchwork assembled from other more original action films that had come before it, explicitly citing titles including Extraction and Gunpowder Milkshake alongside the persistent John Wick comparisons that ran through much of the film's critical coverage. This particular strand of criticism suggested that Kate arrived at a moment when the specific subgenre it belonged to, glossy, hyper-stylized, female-led revenge and assassin thrillers, had become saturated enough that even a well-executed entry struggled to distinguish itself from its immediate predecessors. Theo Bugbee, reviewing the film for the New York Times, extended the criticism of unoriginality to include the film's treatment of its Japanese setting, arguing that the film's engagement with Japanese culture and aesthetic elements came across as superficial rather than genuinely considered or textured. This point of critique added a distinct dimension to the broader derivative complaint that ran through much of the film's coverage, suggesting that the film's shortcomings extended beyond simply recycling narrative beats from other assassin movies and into how it visually and culturally rendered its Tokyo set underworld. Taken together, the critical conversation around Kate settled into a fairly stable and consistent shape across outlets. Near universal acknowledgement of Mary Elizabeth Winstead's committed physical and emotional performance in the lead role, generally positive to mixed assessments of the film's action choreography and visual style, and a recurring widely shared frustration that the film's plot mechanics, character arcs, and genre trappings had already been covered, often more distinctively by a wave of similar female-led assassin and revenge thrillers released in the same general period. This consensus is also reflected in the film's placement on Wikipedia's own list of related works, alongside other films built around comparable premises, including the earlier DOA films and 2021's own Gunpowder Milkshake, underscoring just how frequently critics situated Kate not as a standalone achievement but as one entry within a broader, increasingly crowded cinematic conversation about women assassins seeking revenge against the men and criminal organizations that wronged them. Reviews number 1, Kate Middleton, makes a grand return to the 2026 Belfast red carpet. Diamond Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, lends a certain star factor to the behefties, but she is also responsible for elevating the dress code. Kate, who typically relies on her fail-safe Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen archive for the red carpet, has a halo effect on the rest of the fashion, as guests lean on refined pieces suitable for rubbing shoulders with, or at least catching a glimpse of royalty. It's not a carpet for risks, says stylist Holly White, who dresses Naomi Harris and Rosamund Pike. There's a majestic energy that makes it truly unique. The 2026 BAFTAs certainly saw the Kate effect play out. The picture of poise and professionalism, as per, she deployed princess mode in a custom Gucci chiffon gown in shades of lilac that ticked the royal regalia box without threatening to detract attention from the actors nominated for their efforts. Guests from Jessie Buckley in Chanel to Renate Reinsif in Louis Vuitton followed a similar simple yet powerful fashion mandate. The princess styled her bespoke gown with some serious jewels, the Grenville chandelier earrings, and Queen Mary's diamond choker bracelet. As well, a burgundy Prada Rosso Minaudière bag and crystal Gianvito Rossi pumps. It's not just her fashion influence that's worth nothing. Kate's attendance, she last put in an appearance in 2023 but temporarily stepped back from the spotlight the following year while undergoing cancer treatment, always helps to highlight the BAF days as a front page worthy cultural moment beyond the UK. While tinsel toners often skip this leg of the lengthy award season trail, the weather likely has something to do with it. The princess's attendance solidifies its significance in the film industry calendar. Despite a tumultuous 3 years since her last BAFTS moment, Kate looked more elegant than ever in a look that clearly makes her feel her best and is loaded with the subtle symbolism we have come to associate with her. Hollywood looks good on the Princess of Wales, Kate wearing lilac on the red carpet accompanied by the Prince of Wales. Number 2, Kate Winslet says plastic surgery in Hollywood is devastating and the disregard for one's health is terrifying. It's F in case of out there by Zach Sharf. Zach Sharf, digital news director, latest. Morgan Freeman says you can overlook a mediocre script if they are going to pay you enough money 4 days ago. Perez Hilton's kids were evacuated during blogger's graphic live stream. Family confirms he is able to communicate after hospitalization 4 days ago. The Batman 2 and the Batman 3 are not filming back to back, says James Gunn. I can deny that online rumor 4 days ago. Kate Winslet recently spoke to the Sunday Times and condemned female actors' over-reliance on plastic surgery in Hollywood. The Oscar winner said that young actors have become obsessed with chasing an idea of perfection to get more likes on Instagram. It upsets me so much. It is devastating, Winslet continued. If a person's self-esteem is so bound up in how they look, it's frightening and it's puzzling because I have moments when I think it's better. When I look at actresses at events dressed how they want, whichever shape, but then so many people are on weight loss drugs. It's so varied. Some are making choices to be themselves. Others do everything they can to not be themselves. And do they know what they are putting in their bodies? The disregard for one's health is terrifying. It bothers me now more than ever. It is fucking chaos out there. Winslet said, the rampant use of plastic surgery extends far beyond all the fucking actresses out there as women everywhere save up for Botox or the shit they put in their lips. Related stories. Inside Netflix and Prime Video's fight to reshape France's streaming rules, it's an unsustainable equation. This summer will be different. Netflix series adds 6 to cast as production begins. My favorite thing is when your hands get old, Winslet said, that's life in your hands. Some of the most beautiful women I know are over 70. And what upsets me is that young women have no concept of what being beautiful actually is. Popular on Variety. Winslet has been vocal in the past about the body shaming she endured after James Cameron's 1997 blockbuster turned her into a global movie star. During a 6 minutes interview last year, she fought through tears while remembering a time when she stood up to the press for bullying her over her weight. It was during her award season run for Titanic when an on-air host for the E! Network said Winslet looked a little melted and poured into a dress she wore on the red carpet. It's absolutely appalling, Winslet said. What kind of a person must they be to do something like that to a young actress who's just trying to figure it out? When asked if she'd ever confronted the press for bullying her, Winslet responded, I did get face to face. I let them have it. I said, I hope this haunts you. It was a great moment because it wasn't just for me, It was for all those people who were subjected to that level of harassment. It was horrific. It was really bad. Winslet revealed in an interview with the Sunday Times in 2022 that she was told to settle for fat girl parts when she was a young performer in acting school. The body shaming only got worse after Titanic. Winslet said on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast that Titanic viewers used the film's ending to mock her weight by saying Rose was too fat for Leonardo DiCaprio's Jack to also survive the freezing Atlantic waters on the floating door. Apparently, I was too fat, Winslet said. Why were they so mean to me? They were so mean. I wasn't even fucking fat. I'm a young woman. My body is changing. I'm figuring it out. I'm deeply insecure. I'm terrified. Don't make this any harder than it already is. That's bullying, and actually borderline abusive, I would say. Head over to the Sunday Times' website to read Winslet's latest interview in its entirety. More from Variety. Josh Wakely's Grace Game Science with the CAA. Josh Wakely's Grace Game Science with CA. Michael Ovitz storms out of deposition after being asked about Jeffrey Epstein. Michael Ovitz storms out of deposition after being asked about Jeffrey Epstein. Bozoma St. John Science with CAAXX. Bozoma St. John Science with CAA slams Meta for using opt-out policy for AI platform Muse Image, which can create content using public Instagram accounts. CAA slams Meta for using opt-out policy for AI platform Muse Image, which can create content using public Instagram accounts. Sophie Fleur Debrian, whose spec script, the 1 month mark sold to Apple with Jennifer Lawrence attached, signs with CAA. X. Sophie Fleur Debrian, whose spec script, the 1 month mark sold to Apple with Jennifer Lawrence attached, signs with CAA. X. Music industry moves. Alicia Keys signs with CAA in all areas. SONU's Emerging Songwriter Award nominations now open. Music industry moves. Alicia Keys signs with CAA in all areas. SONU's Emerging Songwriter Award nominations now open. More from our bronze. Rolling Stone Morgan Freeman on his new blues album and his action star dreams. Morgan Freeman on his new blues album and his action star dreams. Rob reports Scott Disick lists a rebuilt 1960s ranch house in LA's Hidden Hills for $20 million. Scott Disick lists a rebuilt 1960s ranch house in LA, Hidden Hills for $20 million. Sportico Apple takes a VR swing at MLB, starting with Yankees versus Red Sox. Apple takes a VR swing at MLB, starting with Yankees versus Red Sox. WWD Vandal ready to launch Guess intimates and sleepwear collections for spring 2027. Vandal ready to launch Guess intimates and sleepwear collections for spring 2027. Number 3, Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet is an Oscar-winning British actor known for her performances in such movies as Titanic, The Reader, and Revolutionary Road. Who is Kate Winslet? Quick facts. Early life and career. Movies and TV shows. Husband and children. Quotes. Who is Kate Winslet? Kate Winslet is an Oscar-winning British actor known for her critically acclaimed performances in films like Titanic. The Reading native started acting at an early age and began her professional career in theatre until the mid-1990s, when she appeared in her first film, Heavenly Creatures. In 1997, she gained the lead role in Titanic, which propelled her to international stardom. Winslet has since starred in several films and won the Best Actress Oscar for The Reader. She has also received several Golden Globes, including wins for Revolutionary Road, Mildred Pierce, and Steve Jobs. Quick facts. Full name, Kate Elizabeth Winslet, born October 5, 1975 B. Birthplace. Reading England spouses, Jim Tripleton, 1998-2011, and Edward Abel Smith, 2012 present. Children, Mia and Jostrological sign, Libra. early life and career. Born on October 5, 1975 in Reading, England, Kate Elizabeth Winstead is the granddaughter of two theatre managers. Her maternal grandparents founded Reading Repertory Theatre and the daughter of two actors. Winstead began acting as a child, making her first appearance on British television at age 7 in a serial commercial. In 1988, she appeared on the TV series Shrinks. 3 years later, she left school to pursue her fledgling acting career. Movies and TV shows. Winslet appeared on the British stage in production such as Adrian Mole and Peter Pan, and had a recurring role on the British sitcom Get Back before landing her debut film role in Heavenly Creatures 1994, directed by Peter Jackson. In the film, Winslet played Juliet Hulme, a schoolgirl with tuberculosis, whose obsessive friendship with a classmate leads the two girls to murder the classmate's mother in order to avoid separation, Sense and Sensibility. Winslet attracted even more attention with her next role in Ang Lee's film adaptation of the Jane Austen novel Sense and Sensibility 1995. The actress proved she could hold her own across from screen legends such as Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, and Alan Rickman. As the winsome Marianne Dashwood, the sensibility of the movie, Winslet earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The film also earned high praise from critics. Titanic. In a similarly highbrow role, Winslet starred with Christopher Eccleston in Jude, a modern interpretation of the Thomas Hardy novel Jude the Obscure. She then appeared as Ophelia in Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, 1996, and landed squarely on the A-list of leading ladies with her performance as Rose DeWitt, the heroine of James Cameron's record-breaking blockbuster Titanic, 1997. The film won numerous Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, and scored Winslet her second Academy Award nomination, this time for Best Actress. Her co-star, Gloria Stewart, also earned a nod in the Supporting Actress category for her portrayal of the older Rose DeWitt. The two actresses became the first ever to earn nominations for playing two versions of the same character, Hideous Kinky and Holy Smoke, on the heels of her first blockbuster hit. Winslet made two somewhat unlikely choices for her next projects in 1999, Hideous Kinky and Holy Smoke. In Hideous Kinky, Winslet played a free-spirited single mother who brings her two daughters on a spiritual quest to Marrakesh. For the Jane Campion-directed Holy Smoke, Winslet played Ruth Barron, a young woman who joins a religious cult. The film's frank depiction of the sexual connection between Barron and P.J. Waters, played by Harvey Keitel, displayed Winslet's talent for portraying physical and emotional nudity on screen. Winslet then returned to a period drama in 2000 with the film Quills, a movie about the French novelist Marquis de Sade. In the movie, Winslet portrayed the laundress who helps the Marquis Geoffrey Rush smuggle his illicit writings out of an insane asylum during his commitment there, Iris. In 2001, Winslet lent her voice to the animated British feature A Christmas Carol, a song from the movie What If featured Winslet as the lead vocalist and became a top 10 single in Britain. Her most notable film that year was Iris, a screenplay based on the John Bailey book Elegy for Iris. Winslet played the young Iris Murdoch, an unconventional student. Judi Dench played the older Iris, whose husband Jim Broadbent tries to help her as she struggles with the growing effects of her Alzheimer's disease. All three Iris stars earned Academy Award nominations, making it the second time Winslet and a co-star both earned nominations for playing different versions of the same character. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That same year, Winslet co-starred as a code breaker in the World War II era spy drama Enigma, 2002. She also appeared as a reporter interviewing a death row inmate in The Life of David Gale, co-starring Kevin Spacey and Laura Linney. In 2004, Winslet starred opposite Jim Carrey in Charlie Kaufman's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which earned her another Academy Award nomination for her performance. She also co-starred with Johnny Depp in Finding Neverland 2004, which explored J. M. Barrie's inspiration for his best-known work, Peter Pan. In the films, Winslet played the widowed mother of 4 boys whom Barry befriended, Revolutionary Road and Mildred Pierce. Again playing a maternal role, Winslet starred in Little Children 2006 as a frustrated suburban woman who gets involved with a married man. She earned yet another Academy Award nomination for this film. Continuing to tackle serious dramas, Winslet starred in Revolutionary Road in 2008. She teamed up again with her Titanic co-star Leonardo DiCaprio as a struggling married couple in the 1950s. That year, she also starred in The Reader, which explores the relationship between a young boy and an older woman, Winslet, and their later encounter when she is put on trial for war crimes. The performance finally netted the acclaimed actress her first Academy Award win. Winslet later won a Golden Globe and an Emmy Award for her starring role in the miniseries Mildred Pierce 2011. The part had been previously played by Joan Crawford in the 1945 feature film version of the James M. Cain novel. Winslet also starred in the Roman Polanski film Carnage with Jodie Foster, Christoph Waltz and John C. Reilly that same year, Divergent and Steve Jobs. Winslet has gone on to tackle a variety of roles. In 2013, she appeared in the ensemble comedy Movie 43 with Hugh Jackman and Emma Stone. That year, she also starred in Labor Day with Josh Brolin, earning a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Drama. Moving into franchise territory, Winslet took on the role of the villainous Jeanine Matthews for the 2014 dystopian thriller Divergent and its 2015 sequel Insurgent. In 2015, she also starred as Apple executive Joanna Hoffman in the biopic Steve Jobs, receiving another Golden Globe for her efforts as well as the 7th Oscar nomination of her career. The Mountain Between Us, after starring in the Australian production The Dressmaker 2015, Winslet joined the ensemble casts of 999 2016 and Collateral Beauty 2016. She returned with 2 projects in late 2017, The Mountain Between Us, an adventure survival film with Idris Elba and Woody Allen's Wonder Wheel. Later that year, it was also announced that Titanic fans would get another chance to watch the romance between Winslet's Rose and DiCaprio's Jack play out on the big screen. Tickets went on sale November 15 for a limited run of a remastered version of Titanic, scheduled to play in 87 theaters equipped with Dolby Cinema, beginning December 1. Husband and children. Winslet is married to Edward Abel Smith, formerly known as Ned Rock'n'Roll. He is the nephew of business mogul Richard Branson. The couple tied the knot in a private ceremony in December 2012, with DiCaprio said to have walked Winslet down the aisle. Winslet was previously married to Sam Mendes, the noted British stage director and Oscar-winning director of American Beauty, with the two having also worked on Revolutionary Road together. Winslet and Mendes, who wed in 2003, have 1 child together, a son named Joe. Their divorce was finalized in 2011. The actor also has a daughter, Mia, from her first marriage to Jim Tripleton. The couple met on the set of Hideous Kinky, for which he was the assistant director. They married in late 1998 and were divorced in December 2001. Quotes, I like exposing myself. There's not an awful lot that embarrasses me. I'm the kind of actress who absolutely believes in exposing herself. The biography.com staff is a team of people obsessed and news hungry editors with decades of collective experience. We have worked as daily newspaper reporters, major national magazine editors, and as editors in chief of regional media publications. Among our ranks are book authors and award winning journalists. Our staff also works with freelance writers, researchers, and other contributors to produce the smart, compelling profiles and articles you see on our site. To meet the team, visit our About Us page, https://www.bbiography.com A436023229. Our famous British people Jane Goodall, Christopher Nolan, Charlie XCX, Anya Taylor-Joy, The Life and Death of Hamnet Shakespeare, Why Princess Margaret Was the Worst Party Guest, Lewis Hamilton, Emily Blunt, The True Story of James Stagg, and Pressure Get to Know Leo Woodall, William Golding, Ian Huntley. Number 4, Kate Middleton talks about her cancer once more. Something I have to be a lot more conscious. Kate Middleton gives another update on what she's had to give up on ever since she got cancer. Kate Middleton's cancer treatment might have concluded, but a new revelation by the Princess of Wales reveals she still has to make daily changes and considerations to ensure her health moving forward. The princess shared everything related to her health while on a visit to the Bermondsey Beer Mile in East London. During that trip, she declined the beer and cider offered to her by the owner, Hannah Rhodes. As for her reasons, she said, "Since my diagnosis, I haven't had much alcohol." In her own words, "It's something I have to be a lot more conscious of now," the royal added. Prince William, on the other hand, sipped and engaged in the tasting without column, even going as far as saying he is a cider man, according to Hello. Later on, the owner also came forward to explain a bit more about what was shared to her privately in their chat, because it saw Miss Rhodes as admit. She, Kate, said something along the lines of, "Since my diagnosis, it has been best to avoid alcohol," for those still unversed with Kate's biggest against cancer. She made a formal announcement about it back in March of 2024, but kept the form of cancer undisclosed. What's known is that it was found after a routine abdominal surgery which led to her undergoing preventative chemotherapy treatment. Almost a year later, in January 2025, she announced her remissions, and since then has been focusing on the healing effects of nature for her health and well-being. King Charles faces down the barrel of an important life decision over Prince Harry's Invictus Games. Big Bang Theory's Sheldon Cooper comes out. Sarah Ferguson's situation turns bruising. Perez Hilton's family rally together for his children, inside custody, and more. King Charles reveals his 1988 brush with death. Ruling issued over radio station's King Charles death announcement. Duchess Sophie receives new royal patronage with cause close to Prince Harry's heart. King Charles faces down the barrel of an important life decision over Prince Harry's Invictus Games. Prince Harry makes emotional plea to Meghan Markle amid big decision. Sarah Ferguson's situation turns bruising. Megxit was never just about Meghan Markle. Kate Middleton's daily fears move from Prince Harry to King Charles. King Charles celebrates major milestone with iconic photos. Sarah Ferguson still sitting on a gold mine but hesitates to take big decision. Prince William and King Charles emotionally exhaust Kate Middleton. Buckingham Palace makes big announcement as Balmoral Castle closed. Number 5. The Kate Middleton Lookbook. It's no surprise that people are obsessed with the royals, and that continues to include Kate Middleton, who earlier this year made headlines when rumors spread about her months-long absence. In March, the Princess of Wales announced her cancer diagnosis and that she is undergoing chemotherapy, and in June she made her first public appearance since the announcement, to much support. While we are happy to have Kate back, we are also excited to see her continue all style, as she has built a reputation as a chic and quintessentially British dresser. Whatever the occasion, her preppy coats, occasional tweeds, unfussy dresses, occasional hats, and love of color continue to keep the public guessing. Here we look back at her most memorable fashion moments over the years, from her royal wedding to her time on the red carpet for the BAFTAs, and No Time to Die to her many royal engagements. We've rounded up all the best outfits and looks below and will update as she continues to make public appearances this year. Below Kate Middleton's best outfits, looks, and fashion choices. Tags lookbook style red carpet, keeping up with the royals, fashion celebrity style Kate Middleton more.